Welcome to the session 5 of the case writing program. This session is about establishing the dilemma. Last week, we did the session on getting the protagonist on board. The purpose of this program is to enhance executive capability and decision making skills with in company case studies. These case studies can be integrated into the leadership development programs and thus they can be made much more effective. This is being brought to you by METL Global Perspectives, www.metl.in. What is a dilemma? A dilemma is a crucial part of the case. This is the situation that gave rise to the case scenario, and it has multiple different approaches to get resolved. In case there is only one way to resolve a situation, then there is no case study. It can be a practice document. A case writer normally starts when the organization wants to capture a story. Most often, it's a success story, as very few companies want to write cases about failures. It is the case writer's job to figure out the dilemma that is lurking somewhere and establish it. It can be about a new product offering, or innovation, or a difficult scenario that got resolved, or a deal that seemed impossible to achieve at the first place but got through after multiple rounds of negotiations, and likewise. 4 types of dilemmas. While there can be many dilemmas, the 4 that I have faced the most often while writing the cases are Dilemma 1, risk versus return. Dilemma 2, overcoming demanding business situation. Dilemma 3, guideline based. Dilemma 4, comparison driven. I will elaborate on all of these 4 in the next few slides. Establishing the dilemma 1, risk return. For a case study, the dilemma has to be established. The case writer needs to go over time to establish the immediate past and the present that led to the scenario to evolve at the first place. A new product launch can have a situation of a business plateauing and the need to infuse new energy and offerings to compete and win in the marketplace. The associated risk and how the team decided to go ahead with it is the dilemma that can be established while writing this particular case study. Establishing the dilemma 2, overcoming demanding business situation. A crucial equipment breakdown and subsequent repair by itself is not a case, but it can become a case on ensuring revenue projections are met in spite of a product line breaking down. Acquisition of a large corporate client while saying no to another equally large opportunity as the company was not geared to handle the crushing demands is a sales and marketing success and can become an approach to replicate it across different prospects, maybe across geographies. Establishing the dilemma 3, guideline based. At times, the dilemma can be around constantly chasing the targets that requires change in business process, the current work processes and challenges limits. For instance, a diktat by the board to increase sales by 5% every year while reducing unit cost of production by 10%. The case can document what the protagonist did thus far and what should he be doing over the next few years that would be making it feasible. Establishing the dilemma 4, comparison driven. If an organization wants to write a case about its culture, the case writer can bring a dilemma by presenting 2 different entities belonging to the same organization, one where the culture is vibrant and the other where it is still old school. The contrast would be the text of the case, and the readers can be asked to analyze the scenario to find out the reasons for the difference. Validating the dilemma. The dilemma needs to be figured out well. Often risk, revenues, business continuation, loss of market share, acquiring new customers, beating competition, and growth can give rise to dilemmas. A case writer needs to spend time trying to understand the company and the industry. While questioning the protagonist, the case writer should ask about the business challenges that gave rise to the dilemma, and then put it all together, process it, and figure out where the dilemma really was. Building the dilemma in the case. Once the dilemma has been thought through and has been validated with the protagonist, the same has to be incorporated in the opening of the case, and all elements leading up to the dilemma and resolving it needs to be included in the body of the case. The dilemma can be an external one as well, imposed by the changing policies of the government or by aspects like sustainability and client preferences or the SDG. No dilemma, no case. A case writer needs to be well versed with the aspects that influence the business. These influences can be an opportunity as well as a risk. This also makes case writing an intense learning exercise as well for the writer. Every case that I have written has taught me a lot. These experiences are helpful when you write other cases. In case you are unable to get a dilemma, then do not write the case. This is the point where you and the protagonist discuss and decide to drop it or make it into an article. This is important to be understood and to be carried through. Questions. In the case that you are writing, identify the dilemma. Discuss the same with the protagonist as it might require additional information to be brought into the case. Identify elements needed to reach up to the dilemma and write the topics. Identify information needed to resolve the dilemma and write the topics. Write down the first para for the case study, and that will guide you on the information that will be required, and start gathering it. Message me your queries and I will revert as soon as I can. Contact me at sogata@metl.in. The next week's session, which will be the session 6, will be on conceptualizing the scenario and the complexity.